Keep watching if you want to find out whether this pilot reacted correctly to this engine failure. Hey guys, I'm Tarek Merryface here, and welcome to Mayday Talk. In today's episode, we're watching a pilot doing an emergency landing right after takeoff. Quick note though, the pilot is alright. He didn't get injured or anything. The crash does look violent because the camera flies forward. But in fact, it's not even a crash, it's just an incident. That being said, it's important to remember the pilot walked away from this crash. So no matter what I say in today's videos, when I analyze his actions and his mistakes, if there are any, as we'll see in a bit, remember that ultimately he made the right decision because he walked away. So let's get started. So the pilot took off and initially seemed to have no problems, but then the engine started to run roughly. It ran like that for about 9 seconds before it stopped to run completely. That's when the pilot reacted. He pitched forwards and declared an emergency before picking a field. He bounced off the field though, and seeing a line of trees ahead, decided to pull up to go over the trees. The aircraft struck the trees and he landed in the next field with quite a lot of yaw caused by the strike in the trees. The field behind happened to be plowed and there was a lot of friction, which is why there's such a sudden force when he hits the ground. So the first thing to say is that the pilot didn't react when the engines first started to run roughly, and it ran roughly for about 9 seconds. Now it could be that he didn't realize, or it could be that it was one of those oh my god I can't believe it moments, or I'm unsure, and you pretend it doesn't exist because you're just not sure that it's actually happening to you. It's a very common thing and it can happen to anyone. So when you first watch the video, the initial reaction is to think that he pitched for too much speed. The thing to understand is that for single engine piston aircraft, Vy, best rate of climb speed, Vx, the best angle of climb speed, and Vg, the best glide speed, are all very, very close together. So if we look at the airspeed indicator in the aircraft, we can more or less see if he's flying those same airspeeds. So when you look at the climb speed, you can see that they're roughly the same when he's climbing to when he's gliding down to the ground. But unfortunately, we see how the aircraft behaves. It bounced, which means that no matter what he did, he was coming in too fast. And that's just a fact that we have to accept. So my theory is that he didn't climb at Vx or Vy, but actually climbed at a much faster speed and lower climb rate simply because he could. It was a long runway and he was a small aircraft. But he pitched too far down and picked up too much speed to land in a field, especially for a short field landing. Now when the aircraft hit the top of the trees, it caused the aircraft to yaw. The pilot didn't correct that yaw, and on top of that, he was being very violent with the control stick and he was pulling backwards after hitting those trees. One important thing to note as well is the fact that he landed in a plowed field, which of course is going to cause a lot of drag. There are 3 important lessons that we can learn from this incident. The first is to know the speeds in the aircraft, Vy, Vx, and Vg, but also to know the pitches for them, both on the attitude indicator and visually. It'll help you a lot. It's also important to know ahead of time where you would land in the case of an engine failure on takeoff, especially for single engine aircraft. You can cover that option in the departure briefing. It's vital to always fly the aircraft. The pilot in the end started to panic, as you can hear in the video. And ultimately he forgot to fly the aircraft to the ground, and he was very lucky that he didn't stall that high up. Now the pilot did do a lot of things that saved his life. He pitched forwards and avoided a stall, so it's better to get too high on airspeed than not enough airspeed. So in that sense, the pilot saved his own life no matter how fast he was going down. The pilot chose a close by field and tried to land across it in the long distance. This was the correct decision considering his previous actions, because doing the impossible turn would have been, well, impossible, and also stretching the glide would have been risky. It's probably best to climb at Vx or Vy to gain as much altitude as possible once we take off. This is going to give you more altitude and more time to think in the case of an engine failure. The pilot should have used Vg, especially that low down. It would have extended his glide safely which means he probably could have managed to land across the yellow field to his right. Now, of course, he came out okay, but if he had attempted that, there's a good chance the landing wouldn't have been bounced and he would have stopped in the same amount of distance. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please share and subscribe. If you have anything to say about the crash, feel free to post in the comment section below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. But that's it for now. I'm Tarek Merryface. I'll see you guys next time, and happy flying.